What's going on, guys? Peter here with One Guy One Globe. And are you crunching the numbers trying to figure out how you can afford to pay for that next cruise vacation? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you that beginner's guide on figuring out everything you need to know when planning and budgeting for that future cruise coming up. So my first tip is going to be book as far in advance as possible. With cruise lines nowadays, you can really book, it's September 2021, you can book as early as April of 2023. So you're looking at around that 18 to 24 month range on average. The earlier you book, the better stateroom you can get, especially if you're really wanting that higher deck. Maybe you want that lower deck, that very specific balcony, the connecting rooms. This can lock in that rate. You have until 90 days prior to the actual sailing to make your final payment. So this way you can lock in that rate. If it changes down the road where it gets cheaper, you can always call up the cruise line and they will then credit you back the difference. If you're within your 90-day window, well, then they're going to give you a onboard credit to use on the ship itself. So you do have to do a little bit of that legwork to know if the price has dropped, but you can contact them and they are more than happy to adjust them to give you that best rate. So locking that price in as early as possible guarantees you that room. So coming in at number 2 for me is going to be plan ahead for your travel. One of the key things that I would recommend is to alleviate a lot of the stress that is a lot of the unknowns, especially when it comes down to travel, is to arrive a day or two early. This way you get yourself acquainted with the city, you can relax a little bit, not have to worry about that stress on travel day. If you have, say, a mechanical delay on the plane had to divert for whatever reason, you got weather that comes into a factor with that. So hurricane season does go until the end of November, as an example, if you're going down to Florida. And so it's all these different variables that can be wiped out by giving yourself that extra day or two to travel in advance so you don't have to stress getting to the port. Now, that being said, once you're actually in your destination, how do you get to the cruise port? There are a couple different options that are available. If you're arriving at the airport on the day of, there usually is a shuttle that is offered. Usually that's within the cruise line itself. So if you're doing the air to sea, as an example, option with Royal Caribbean, they usually will have the coach transportation from the airport to the cruise port. Other options obviously are going to be the public transportation route, so you can be taking like the subway. Especially if you're in New York, there is a way to save a little bit of money, especially on a cab. Next option is going to be cabs and ride shares. Those ones are going to be your primary source, whether or not you're just going from your hotel, or if you had a car rental and leaving it back at the airport, as an example, and then cabbing it over. That's going to be your most effective way, either cab or rideshare, getting to the terminal itself for your cruise port. So tip number 3 for me is going to be look at the drink packages and the dining options that are available that are the upcharge. So as an example, on Royal Caribbean, you have Chops Grill, Wonderland, Jamie's Italian, and Izumi, so as well as Playmakers. So some of these options are going to cost extra. Now, if you book it in advance, you could save quite a bit of money. So as an example, Chops Grill right now is for roughly about $59 per person. Now, if you do that with Chops plus another one, so you can do, say, Wonderland, you're going to be paying $85 per person if you book that in advance. Then for 3 different nights, you can do it for $117, and then the unlimited you can do for $240, as well as there's the chef's table, which is $102. Now, drink packages get a little bit more lucrative depending on how much you decide you want to drink on the ship. So you're going to start off with the soda package, which is $17 regular per person. On the cruise planner, you're looking at about $11 for the refreshments package. So that's everything other than alcohol. Regular on the ship, you're looking at around $43 per person per day. Where on the cruise planner, you're looking at about $30 per person. And then when it comes down to the deluxe beverage package, which is everything other than Starbucks, obviously, it's going to be regular $90 per night. With cruise planner, it's going to be $63 right now. So booking in advance, you can save quite a bit of money for that. And when it comes down for drink prices on the ship, you're looking at roughly around $13 US per drink, plus 18% gratuity. So it really starts to add up pretty quickly. And on average, you're looking at about 6 alcoholic drinks per night to break even. So those at sea days obviously will make a difference depending on how many days you're at port and spending drinking on different shore excursions. You're not going to get the maximum benefit out of that compared to if you're drinking on the ship or at, like, say, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, for an example. They are transferable onto those private islands, so it is an option to consider. Or you can just pay a la carte and then pay at the end of your sailing your entire bill for your drinks. So this next one is kind of a bonus tip, more towards the Royal Caribbean travelers. If you're going to go on an Oasis class ship or a Quantum class ship, look at the shows that are on board, and that 90 days prior out, usually you're looking at, they're going to release the seats for your sailing for the actual shows. So if you know you want to see Grease as an example, you can book your seat in advance to guarantee that you can actually watch that show. If you decide to wait for the last minute, a lot of other people will book up into those spots, and you may end up in the standby line where there might not be a seat for you. So it is something to keep in mind when actually booking your trip, and to plan your nights a little bit further in advance, especially if you're on those Quantum or Oasis. So my next tip is know that private islands for the cruise lines, such as Perfect Day at Coco Cay for Royal Caribbean, is not included in your cruise fare. Obviously, yes, the beach is going to be included, the food is going to be included. If you have a drink package, it's going to be included onto the island. However, the extra amenities such as the zip lining, the thrill park for the water slides, the wave pool, all that is going to be extra. If you decide your family wants the cabana as an example, that's going to be an extra surcharge. So you can book a lot of this stuff in advance through the cruise planner for Royal Caribbean as an example, and save yourself some money, as well as factored into your budget now, rather than paying for it at the end of your ship when you're getting off, and not just having that balanced bill at the end. So with Royal Caribbean, just keep in mind private islands are also not included. That being said, shore excursions, book them as far in advance as you possibly can with the cruise line as well. By booking through the cruise line, you are guaranteeing your spot on that shore excursion, but at the same time, you're also guaranteeing that you can make it back to the ship. If you're booked through the cruise line themselves, they know which tour you are on. They can then do that investigation to know how far away you are, what's causing the delay, versus if you decide to walk off into the town for a little bit, lose track of time. They don't know where you are. They don't know who you're with, or if you're ever coming back, as an example. So eventually the cruise line will just leave without you. So when it comes down to the cruise lines, you are going to pay a little bit of a premium through that compared to paying private. However, it gives you that reassurance of being able to make it back to the ship on time. So the big thing that I want to point out here for my final tip is to know that when your ship returns back into port for debarkation day, your sailing may be over, but your vacation's not. If you're in Florida, you still have the opportunity to go to, say, Disney World, Universal Studios, Cape Canaveral, and go to the NASA Kennedy Space Center as an example. The possibilities are endless at that point, rather than just getting off the ship, rush into the airport, and going straight back to reality of, like, ending your vacation at that point. So that is something to consider if you want to maximize your vacation time in Florida. But keep in mind, these things you do also have to factor in, because they do get pricey quite quickly. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I do plan on doing other cruise-related topics in future series, so if you like this video, please hit that like button. It helps you know I'm bringing helpful and informative travel-related information to you, as well as please consider subscribing for future videos every Tuesdays and Saturdays. And I'll see you all in the next one.